My supervisor doesn't even know how to work my post. What the heck is going on with that? How many times have you heard that statement? Or my supervisor doesn't even know what they're doing, doesn't know their job. They couldn't come down here and work this post. Too much going on. They don't know how. They never worked this post before. Well, folks, today I want to talk to you about why that's happening, but also why it's a two-way street. We must work together, folks. We can sit back in a chair and complain and whine and cry. That doesn't mean that supervisor is not a good supervisor. That does not mean that supervisor can't be a good leader. Now, on the other hand, maybe they're just not going to be a good supervisor or a good leader. But let's discuss why we work together and we need to help that supervisor when we can instead of complain about that supervisor. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. Okay, number one, before we get into why we need to help that type of supervisor and be a team player, not a whiner and a crier. Today in corrections, everybody knows we're very short-staffed. Mass exits in a lot of places in this country. It's a problem. I'm leaving because I don't like my supervisors. I'm leaving because I'm not backed up by my supervisors. I'm leaving because I just hate this job. Well, we want your supervisors to back you. We want you to have leaders that will be there for you. Are you there for them? Two-way street. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. Two-way street. Are you there for your supervisors? Two-way street. Now, what's happening is with all the staff shortages, we're getting people coming in and they're getting promoted with 2 and 3 years under their belt. In my opinion only, they haven't had time, I know, to work everything. I believe in cross-training. So I think before you promote someone, get them to work everywhere, every position. You know, if it's in the prison, try to get them moved around the dorms, get them on outside hospital watch, get them on hospital transport, get them to be in charge of something while they're an officer on the floor. Caustics. You're in charge of caustics. You're in charge of supply. You're in charge of food service. You know, do something that gives or empowers the officer on the front line to take charge of something and take the lead. This will help them later when they get promoted. So, quick promotions, not enough time on the floor. Well, I hate to tell you this, it's going to happen, so we can beat that horse to death. It's happening now. Back in the day, when old farts like me were working, you might see people go 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years before they got promoted to sergeant, lieutenant, captain. They had a lot of time on the floor, right? Okay, we're talking about today, 2023. Quick promotions today because we just don't have the staff. Plus, we have a lot that just want to be on the floor. They're not interested in being a supervisor. So, I'm working a post and my supervisor comes in and I can tell that my supervisor is quickly wanting to sign my log. How's things going? Okay, great. Let me know if you need anything. I hope they're telling you that. And then they leave. But do they really know what you're doing there on that post? Some don't, because they just got promoted and they've only been on the floor a couple of years. They never worked confinement. They never did a hospital transport. Who knows? There's something they haven't done to getting promoted quicker, right? Okay, instead of bad-mouthing that supervisor, let's work with that supervisor. Let's tell them what we're doing when they come in to sign the log and say, hey, you know, I just did this today because of this, this, and that. Just letting you know. And hopefully the supervisor is open-minded and they say, well, what do you normally do in that case? It's a two-way street. Because if I'm a supervisor coming to you, checking on you, and I don't know how to work that post, really, I need to ask some questions as well. You need to give me some input. Don't badmouth the supervisor. You can actually talk to a supervisor on the side God forbid the supervisor gets offended. It's a two-way street. Don't get offended, supervisors. And the officer says, hey, you know, I just want to give you a heads up. That door I'm working, usually this happens or that happened, and I want you to know why. And I want you to be ready in case I call, Sarge. You know, just say, a good sergeant say, you know what, thanks. Thanks for giving me the heads up on that. It's a two-way street. So we can work as a team. And I can be a good officer to my sergeant. I can be a good soldier to my sergeant. And my sergeant should be able to appreciate that and work well with me. But if either one of you, the employee, continue to badmouth the sergeant, and the sergeant not wish to learn and not wish to take good information and not wish to take constructive criticism, then we have two bullheads or two bulls pounding against each other. Separation. Front line versus supervision. It happens, folks. Don't tell me it doesn't. Or I'll name a whole bunch of places that don't want to be named out on social media that it's happening. We must work together. You know, supervisors, think about it. They have to work well with their officers on the front line. They have to gain their officers' trust. They have to let the officers know I'm there for them. Then they have to look above their head and see upper prison management, prison administration. And orders are trickling down from people up there who also may have never worked the floor even. We have a lot of those now in corrections across the country. A lot of upper management. Because they say, well, you can manage corrections without ever having worked the floor because you're a manager. You know, can a leader be a manager? Yes, I think I need to do a video on that. Can a leader be a manager? That's a good topic as well. And vice versa. Can a manager be a leader? Yes. And that's a whole nother video in itself. I'll mark that down for future. But, you know, it doesn't hurt if you have knowledge of corrections, in my opinion. But if we don't, let's work together. So now supervisors, middle management, let's educate upper management respectfully and do the same type of work together. Because, you know, we have to work as a team. We can't be lifting this heavy tree trunk and the front line is in the middle lifting the entire tree and upper management in the front and supervisors in the back not lifting anything. You ever see that when you lift heavy things when you're moving and you see one guy doing all the lifting and the other two are just barely not even touching the object? It's no, we all have to lift. We all have to lift. Think about that. I'm going to cut this short here. You got my point now, I hope. If you don't have my point by now, then give me a holler in the comments and let's talk some more. We must work together. I can't badmouth my supervisors. My supervisors don't need to badmouth me or put me down. And the same with upper management. Let's work together as a team. Thank you, Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.